This is the Crush Crowdfunding Podcast, the #1 place for people who want to launch on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. My name is Nalin, and I invite you to join me for tips, hacks, and insights to get you launched and fully funded. Hey everyone, welcome to another session of the Crush Crowdfunding Podcast. I'm really excited to have you here today and to really talk to you about crowdfunding and how you can absolutely crush your goal on Kickstarter and absolutely crush your goal on Indiegogo. Yeah, so let's get started. Today's a Wednesday. So today's a Wednesday, and it's middle of the week, and it's hump day, and I'm very excited for it because all great things, right? It's the last day of the month too, and it's the last quarter of the year, Q4, and this is where things start really spicing up with crowdfunding. A lot of people start trying to launch right now because it's the last quarter of the year, and a lot of people want to launch so that they can get their product and their launch on Kickstarter and Indiegogo wrapped up before, for example, the last few months, and so they can. Some people even want to launch their products now so that they can deliver it before December, deliver it before the new year, deliver it before Christmas, right? So the Q4 is really heating up with product launches. So that's the first thing. So I already have people coming to me and asking me about, Nalin, now that I've launched, how do I get traction? How do I get promotions? How do I get new traffic coming to my campaign? How do I get all these people and all these eyes coming to my campaign, right? A lot of people are already asking me this, already people are planning to get things out before the end of the year. So yeah, they've launched, and then two things. One, they either see that they didn't do enough of a pre-launch and the campaign hasn't fully funded yet, and they're grabbing at anything they can take in order to make sure that they get funded, right? So that's on one hand. There's a lot of people who've done that, and they've launched, they've realized, oh no, I'm not funded yet, and I need things to make sure that I get funded, right? And there's another group of people who have funded, have launched, have funded, and then they're like, okay, now it's this like messy middle part where not a lot is happening, and they're looking for additional ways to promote their campaign. A lot of the time, the second group, the people who've launched and they just need to promote kind of this messy middle, at least they're funded, right? They have everything they need in order to make the actual product itself. They have the minimum that they need in order to, initiate production and do like a first run of a product. It's the people who on the former who realize that they haven't done enough in the pre-launch to build a large enough audience that really start to kind of freak out, and they kind of frantically reach out to me, and they're like, Nalin, okay, what do I do? There's a lot of people that don't know about my project. There's a lot of traffic coming in, a lot being minimal. There's a lot of traffic coming in, but no one's converting. And then, or some days, like there's no traffic coming in at all. Nalin, what do I do? And then they start doing this thing where they start looking at on the internet, right? They start Googling like ways to get more people to my crowdfunding campaign, ways to get more people to my Kickstarter, ways to get more backers to Indiegogo, ways to succeed, ways to get fully funded, right? So they start Googling all these things as the campaign is ticking away, as the days move forward with the campaign. And then all these results pop up that are like, pay $100 to promote to 100,000 backers, or pay $50 to buy the email of 10,000 backers, or if you pay $35 today, you'll get introduced to 300 super backers. So there's all these different things that start popping up, and then as a creator, they start noticing them. They start being like, there's all these people offering to show me super backers. They're offering to send my stuff in front of super backers. They're offering to post about me in front of super backers. And they get desperate. And they either, one, buy these right away, Or two, they come to ask me about it. Nalin, is it worth it? Should this work? Like, there's also different companies like Gadget Flow and companies like Backer Kit. There's companies like Backer Club, Backers Land, Backers Hub, Tech I Want, Tom's Fine. There's all these different product types. Like, there's all these different organizations that are out there that will gladly, just absolutely gladly, take payment to promote in front of fans, right? So there's a few things I want to kind of peel back on today about this. Firstly, the legitimacy of different organizations. That's one thing, right? If it's legit or not, if these places that are offering to promote to fans and backers and super backers and all these things, are they legitimate? One. And the second thing is, how do you even make any of this work? Right? How do you even, does it all just automatically work? And if not, why not? And how to make it work? Okay. So let's talk about legitimacy. It's funny because a lot of people get all these emails, get all these people bombarding them to get in touch with super backers, and they see all these ads for getting in touch with super backers. And at first, they might not, want to listen to it, want to look at it. But then after the campaign's launched, and especially if a creator isn't funded, they start thinking, okay, maybe this is it. Maybe this is my way out. Maybe this is how people do it. Maybe this is how it all is done. You just get in touch with all these super backers and you put your stuff in front of them and then you just get funded. And so they freak out. They honestly freak out, right? They're like, oh no, I'm not getting funding. I'm not getting backers. I'm not getting any support right now. What do I do? And so they freak out. They start throwing money at all these things coming in their way. And so if people are really just like aggressively reaching out to you, especially once you've launched, it's probably too good to be true. I'm going to be completely honest. It's probably too good to be true. It's probably people who are preying off of fear. It's people who are preying off of uncertainty of, your uncertainty of funding or not. It's people preying off of the need for someone to really launch their idea and the need to launch what they've been dreaming about and what they've been wanting to launch all along. So once you launch and people keep reaching out, like it's too good to be true. There's no way that you're going to get in front of 100,000 backers and have actual people backing you. Like, sure, it might be a list of people who are interested in crowdfunding, but they might be a list from a completely different category. For example, if you're launching a new game and someone approaches you and they're like, I have a list of 100,000 backers, they might be in the film or the dance category and they're not going to be interested in what you have at all, right? And so I'd really be wary of these people who are aggressively reaching out to you, aggressively so, and just saying, hey, doing casual conversation, like, hey, I have this list, I'd love to help you, your product's really interesting. Mark that as spam right away, because those are people who are just preying on people who are just scared, to be honest. So don't fall for that. If this is you, don't fall for that. I assure you nothing good will come of it. I have a different project that I've worked on where we were fully funded, but I saw these different people reaching out about, backer lists and stuff like that. So we tried it. I was like, okay, we have some budget to spend. It was, so we negotiated down to like $50 or something for like 10,000 emails. It was something like absurdly low, right? We tried it and sent an email out, and lo and behold, marked as spam a lot of the time. And a lot of people were like, how did you get my email? A lot of people were like, what is this product? I never signed up for it. And I think it was like a 0.001% conversion or something. So basically, don't do it, right? Don't do it, because it's just not the right audience. And people who are going to be supporting your project are people who resonate with your message and resonate with your product. It's not going to be randos on the internet that have backed crowdfunding before. Sure, there's like millions of people who've backed crowdfunding before, but everyone backs a different thing. Not necessarily every crowdfunding backer will love your product, right? It's two different circles, and there's an overlap somewhere, but it's probably not that list you're being offered. Okay, so that's kind of like the people with outreach for you. Like, are they legitimate or not? But there's this other group too of people who have been cultivating their own list of crowdfunding super backers and crowdfunding backers for years, right? These people are the names you hear, like Gadget Flow, like Backer Club, like Product Hype, Tech I Want, Popcorn Gadget. Oh, there's so many of these other kind of people who've been, again, cultivating their list of crowdfunding backers. And yeah, I'm going to have to say, yeah, these guys are legit. They've been around for a long time. They've been finding backer emails for a long time. And they've been doing this through actually like investing their own funds. They're doing things like partnerships in order to get emails for crowdfunding backers. BackerKit is actually growing their email list just because they're a pledge manager, and everyone who confirms their pledge through BackerKit, they have an option to join the BackerKit newsletter. So they're growing their audience in that way. People are also growing their audience through advertising, right? They're advertising on behalf of different products on crowdfunding, and then they have that backer data in that way. So yes, there are people out there who are legitimate, but oftentimes they're not reaching out to you directly. Oftentimes they're just hanging out with really solid, beautiful websites and they're just kind of waiting for you to find them. Don't get me wrong. Like, not all of these people are scams. A lot of people, just make sure that when you're doing the research, when you're looking at different outlets for promotions, that you're looking at how long they've been around. If there's any like real successful case study, that there's actually, if their website looks a little like sketchy, or if there's no reviews or something like that, be sure to, do Google searches, do LinkedIn searches, do searches on things like Kickstarter forum, crowdfunding forum. There's a lot of places you can go to actually, check if people have used this service before, and check kind of how people have used the service, how much it costs, and like kind of the effectiveness for different people, right? And so again, if it's someone just reaching out to you, it's probably a scam. But if you're kind of looking at these different channels and it's been around for a while and there's a lot of good reviews, then yeah, it could potentially work. Again, the word is potentially. So potentially, right? The word is potentially. And I say potentially could work because oftentimes it doesn't. It doesn't, right? And a lot of people, again, who launch on crowdfunding, and they're like, oh no, I haven't fully funded yet. I haven't funded yet, and the time keeps ticking. I don't have more people. I don't have more backers, and I'm not funded. What do I do? And then they go and then they drop like thousands of dollars on a place like Gadget Flow, right? There's multiple levels to Gadget Flow. And the highest tier is like 10,000 or 30,000 or something. There's multiple tiers. A lot of people kind of go and they're like, okay, I can just drop a few $1,000s, and they're saying that I can get so many eyeballs to my product. I can get so many eyeballs to my campaign. Like, that makes sense, right? Like, if I'm featured on their front page, there's 25 million people who frequent the site. That makes sense, right? But okay, a few things. A lot of these like legitimate places have built up a following, right? They've built up a strong following of crowdfunding enthusiasts. So from that perspective, imagine if you're a super backer or someone who's backed like 10, 50, maybe like 50 or 200 campaigns. All right, if you're a super backer and you see a project that is listed, and you're curious about it. You're like, oh, okay, Gadget Flow is listing something new, something cool. And you click into it and you find that the project is like 5% funded. There's 5 people and the goal is like $75,000. As that backer, as that super backer, you're probably kind of scratching your head and being like, what is this? Who is this? Who's doing this? What's going on? right? Because as a super backer, you know that campaigns that are quote unquote doing well, campaigns that are quote unquote prepared are funded by the time you as a super backer come to their page, either funded immediately on that first day, or the numbers are quickly rising because funded immediately because you're there in the middle of the campaign. It's like 10 days in and you just, saw the gadget flow promotion, you came in, or on the first day and the number is steadily climbing because people are clamoring to back the campaign, right? And so as a super backer, and if you see this thing on Gadget Flow, yeah, sure, you might go check it out just because you trust the platform of Gadget Flow. You trust what they're doing. You trust kind of the cool new tech that they like to bring out. But as a super backer, you're probably going to be super wary of a product that has 5 backers and is just 5% funded, right? It doesn't make any sense to you because a super backer wants to back something that's typically winning. A super backer wants to back projects that already funded and kind of overfunded. So you have, when you're looking at these promotions, and you have to think about kind of the psychology behind backers and the psychology behind backing things. A backer, people in general are just kind of social animals, right? We're social animals. We kind of need to thrive. We thrive off of kind of like relationships with others. We thrive off of storytelling. We thrive off of just doing things with other people. With that said, when it comes to crowdfunding, people don't want to be the only one backing something. People really don't. People want to have that feeling where everyone's super excited about something. Everyone's super interested in the success of something. And, everyone just can't wait to back it. And they want to be in too. They want to be part of the in crowd. They want to be part of the in group. So there's that psychology of it that you need to really, really take into account when you're looking at all these promotions, right? There's that psychology, because if you're just hoping and praying that you can pay for something from Backer Club or pay for something from Gadget Flow and just get these super backers, get in front of these super backers and get them to back your project right away, it doesn't make any sense because they know that campaigns that are doing well are campaigns that they want to back because they're going to be successful. People don't want to kind of drop their funds on a campaign that was clearly unprepared and probably won't fund. People want to back campaigns that have funded and are prepared. That's one thing, right? That's just one thing out of millions. Another thing I really want to touch on with these promotions is kind of the fit, right? Let's say it's the fit between these promotions and what you have to offer. Not every promotional channel will fit every offer. Not every offer will fit every promotional channel. So let's take, again, some of the biggest categories on Kickstarter. If you are launching a tabletop game, you won't look at Gadget Flow as a promotional channel, no matter how big their audience for crowdfunding is, because these aren't the type of people who are looking for games. These aren't the types of people who will be interested in games in general. So if you're launching a gadget, there's no way you're going to be featured in like e-news. No way you're going to be featured in a platform that covers film in crowdfunding, right? There's no way, because it doesn't make sense. It isn't the right audience. So you have to really be just cognizant of the type of audiences that you have for your particular campaign too, for your particular product. So like things like on Backer Club, tech and hardware works great on Backer Club, right? If you sign up to them, they showcase your product to a lot of their fans, a lot of their members, and tech and hardware works great. But if it's something like apparel, that doesn't work as well on Backer Club, and so you probably don't want to be featured on them and kind of spend those funds in that area. So really, there's this fit that you have to think about too. So if you do want to use these promotional channels, let's talk about how to make it work, because it does work. right? Like, I'm not dissing on these promotional channels at all. These promotional channels are legitimate, right? They have been around for years and they're legitimate. People have been using them. People have gotten them to convert. People have gotten to work. So how do you make this work for you, right? The way people, you're gonna hate me when I say this, but the way to make this work for you is to bring your own successes first. I'll say it again. The way to make this work for you is to bring your own successes first. And to bring your own successes first, what that means is you really have to do that work beforehand. Do all that pre-launch work beforehand to find the right audience, the right people who are going to be obsessed with your product, the right people who are going to be willing to prepay for a product that doesn't exist, right? The right people, and in a large enough number that when you do launch, you get them streaming into your campaign and backing you right away and getting you funded. The way to make these promotional channels work during the campaign is for you to bring your own successes. Very much like the crowdfunding platforms, very much like how you get Kickstarter and Indiegogo to work for you and the algorithms actually push you up in front of multiple people and get organic views. You have to bring your own successes. These platforms and these promotional channels are not, the end all be all. They're not the saving grace. They're multipliers for what you do and the effort you put in. And again, to get these things to work, you have to do the work beforehand. You have to build up that group of people who want your product. You have to build up that group of people who are willing to pay for your project, because behind all these promotions, behind all these different avenues you look at to bring traffic to your campaign, to bring potential backers to your campaign, if it's paid, right? If it's all these paid places and placements, they're super backers. They know crowdfunding inside and out. They know what it's like to see a campaign that isn't prepared come and go on crowdfunding. They know what it's like to back a campaign that is prepared, that has done the legwork, has done the great product photography, has done the research, has done effective pricing strategies. They know these campaigns and they can spot it very quickly when it comes to crowdfunding, right? And so with that said, yes, these work, but you also have to put in the work. You can't just throw money at it. You can't just throw money at it and just hope that it'll help you fund. It doesn't work that way. So, okay, today we just talked about promotional channels, right? I hope you enjoyed what we talked about today. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Crush Crowdfunding Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode or found it helpful in any way, be sure to leave a review so that other people will have an easier time finding this crowdfunding content. I hope that this podcast was helpful in your crowdfunding journey, and I can't wait for you to go out and crush it. Thanks for listening to the Crush Crowdfunding Podcast at crushcrowdfunding.com. Tune in the same time next week for more ways to crush your launch.